You know that guy?
Greetings, fellow motorcycle enthusiasts. Jedz here, and today we're going to be towing a ride and talking about my 2021 Honda Monkey project. Here it is, the one, the only. Well, there's probably a few of them like this, but this one's my setup. This is my 2021 Honda Monkey with the utility sidecar made by Industrial Moto. We're going to talk about the sidecar, talk about the setup. We're going to go for a ride while I do that. We'll do a couple walk-arounds. You can see what I'm talking about, but here it is. Just so you know, this bike has the DHM 186 big bore kit installed and a stronger than stock clutch, custom oil cooler, oil filter and oil cooler, battery, kind of get you some ballast. So let's go for a ride on this thing. So riding a sidecar is quite interesting because it's naturally not very stable. Right-handers are really kind of hard to turn. The bike wants to, on the right-handers, want to come up. So it makes the riding a bit challenging. Left-handers are easier than right-handers. Alright, so the Monkey. I can tell I got a big old plexi fairing on the front. This is really super helpful in the wintertime. The reason I have the three-wheeler is I'm going to attempt snow travel this year. And in order to do that, I think a three-wheeler is going to be the best bet. This is the Industrial Moto Utility Sidecar here, and you can tell that it's got an extra strut on it. I'm going to say the kit is going to be for those of you that either A, want something that looks really cool. The kit's very cosmetic, especially the mounts. Like, it will line you up and you will be able to ride with it, but don't expect to do much of any riding because it will flex like crazy and it just is not stable. So I definitely had to add some struts to increase the strength. I also had to brace it up, the knuckle of the wheel. You hit a pothole really hard with any kind of load, if it's not modified or strengthened, you will bend the bolt that holds the knuckle to the sidecar. That is not good. So this sidecar is really designed for back road travel, guys. Like, I would have to say that I couldn't imagine riding this thing with a stock engine. Because with the windscreen and the sidecar, it struggles with the 186. Well, it doesn't struggle. Like, I'm going 43 right now. I've got the Speedo Healer on my Monkey. We'll hold 50, 55, no problem. But it's struggling as you start getting to that 60 mile per hour mark. I have hit about 70 on the sidecar with the 186 big bore kit, but you're starting to have issues with the clutch, and it's just not happy, really, guys. The engine, you know, it's fantastic, little engine, but when you start adding sidecars and windshields and stuff like that, you start having issues. So the future of my hack, my outfit, if you want to call it that, is probably going to be a Honda CB250R or 300R swap, because Guys, the engine's just not powerful enough. And then, not just that, but with the added weight, if I crack the throttle in fourth, yeah, we get some clutch slip. So you can work it up, the throttle, and it actually holds pretty good. It holds pretty good, but you know, this is what it's relegated to. If I go on Route 7, try to go 60, 65 miles an hour, the bike is really just screaming. I'm at full throttle. It's about as fast as my Tux was, really. Maybe a touch quicker in some regards. There's definitely more torque, which is sad, but high compression 186 versus a low compression 250 makes sense. With the oil cooler and the oil filter, I'm in the like 200 to 210 range. Before it was in 220. The oil filter is auxiliary. I've done the oil spinner bypass on it. So there's 2 filtration points on this bike, on this engine. I've gotten about 700 miles, 800 miles on this rebuild. A couple hundred miles on the sidecar rig itself. And like I said, the engine is perfect. This is like what it's really in the glory of everything is when I'm driving on roads like this, going 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. And it's actually super stable on dirt. The sidecar is really pretty good. The car itself is nice. Like I said, it's just not a great setup out of the box. In fact, I was going to do an install video for you guys, and it was just such a hack to get it together and putting spacers in places and putting spacers in places that they probably shouldn't be, figuring everything out, trying to follow the Honda Grom video, which didn't have any kind of direction, installing the sidecar. When I got the directions to scan me, it didn't bring you anywhere that's informative about getting the sidecar set up correctly. So I was like, what the heck, guys? Woo-hoo! Upgraded this to, a 428 chain with an X-ring. So the stock chain was just not going to cut it for this. So if you're thinking about doing this hack, do know that it's just not buying the kit and bolting it on. If you want to actually use it and have it be functional and practical and reliable, because the last thing you want is your hack to start bending on itself, which it was with the stock mounts. With the stock mounts, I was noticing the bike was starting to bend towards the car. They aren't the best. They're kind of weak. I do say so honestly. Ah, yes, this is what I'm talking about. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. It's a nice day for it, guys. I believe it's like 38 degrees out today. There's no heated gear on this right now. I do have the battery, as you can tell there. That is a 700 cranking amp tractor battery I bought from Tractor Supply for like $100. And I installed that into the car. It was originally on the outside of the car. But I decided to put it inside the car because you want to keep everything in this triangle for better optimization, and the triangle being your front, rear tire, and your other tire. Like I said, the Industrial Moto Sidecar kit is a really cool kit, but don't expect it to be a complete bolt-on and go, oh, look at Jedz has his, I've just bolt that on, I can do what he does. Well, you really want to work on making it more rigid, and I'm actually going to be installing a second strut in the front because there's a lot of oscillation. You can kind of watch this. There's a little bit of flex still going on in the front. So I'm going to be putting a second sidecar on, or second strut in the front here to kind of strengthen this front strut. I don't know if I'm going to replace it or boost it up, but it needs to be dealt with. We'll go this way, and there's plenty of torque. The little engine's really great. Like I said, it's really good, like up to 50, 55. The bike is actually pretty competent, and it's no slouch. But it's like when you start going over 60, it's really pushing everything. And it could be the tires too. The tires are they're snow tires, so they're naturally not very stable because they're all very grooved. So there's a lot of flex and movement in the tire. Even when you put snow tires on a car, you're going to lose a lot of handling and performance, just because that tire is not designed for for handling and performance. It's really meant for snow, and that's what I've got on this 3 corners is the snow tire. So riding a car is really quite interesting, guys, because riding a sidecar, ooh, that's a new pond because of the flooding. Up the hill we go. See, 4th gear, full bore. It's not slipping. It's grabbing. It's going right up the hill. 40 miles a gallon, 40 miles an hour. Plenty of grunt. Alright, so back to riding a sidecar. So it's really interesting because I highly recommend reading the book on how to install a sidecar outfit and how to ride a sidecar outfit, because there really is a trick to riding these things. Right-handers, for one, are your sketchiest turn, because you've got to lean over like right now and turn, because if you were to just lean like a motorcycle, the bike's going to come up and go straight off the road. Left-handers like this are easier because of the centrifugal forces that are applied. Think of a pendulum. Or you take a weight and you take it on a string and you rotate it like this. All the weight goes to the side that is exerting the force out through inertia. So what happens is, when you take a left-hander, all the weight of the bike is pushing out against the tires this way. When you take a right-hander, all the weight of everything is going this way. So the weight is coming up, and your pivoting point right here is your mass, because you're heavier than the whole outfit, will come up. So you can counteract that by adding weight, which I've done. Actually putting the battery in makes this thing actually rideable. As weighted as you can, and you got to add a lot of weight and put yourself over over your struts, and kind of center the weight, but inside the triangle of the wheels, and turn right. It's not like a motorcycle. You don't like press and counter steer. You have to turn like a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler, like a Honda ATC. It's very much reminiscent of the Honda ATC when I ride this thing. It's beautiful. There is no leaves because everything is dead, because it is cold. It's not dead, it's sleeping, it's hibernating. Wah. So that would be number one. If you did get this, is upgrade the engine, upgrade the struts. They're very cosmetic. They probably would work if you don't plan on riding with anything. But if you decide to get aggressive or do some miles, you'll start noticing the frame will start making noises, and your hack will start to fall in on itself. So the best option is to just get some new struts. At least get the rear strut for sure. The one that goes right from the rear suspension to the rear back of the sidecar, makes it super rigid. I'm going to do the same for the front. and it should be, in the end, perfect. So that's the other thing. Yeah, and that's about it. I would get a battery or some kind of ballast in the front, ride with rocks so you can get used to it. The truth is, I don't think I'd ride without the battery at this point, unless I had a passenger or a lot of camping gear, but at that point I'd take the battery with me for my camping accessories. And the 700, the battery is wired directly to my stock battery, which is, you know, the size of, I don't know, could basically be a box of matches, like a large box of matches. That's about the size of my stock battery. So now I've got the whole kit and caboodle. So 20-degree days, 18-degree days, when I'm coming out to start the bike up to commute to work, it starts right up in the cold. You know, the cylinder head temperature will be in the 20s or teens, and it'll start right up. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Cool. The cool thing I forget is you can just keep your feet up. Because you're never gonna fall over. All right, let's see what we can't get her up to on this little stint here. Right-hander. We're at full throttle. We're at 60 miles an hour. I'm ducked. 63. That's all I'm gonna push her, because I don't really like pushing this thing. But like I said, man, the 186 is just, I couldn't imagine not having the 186 on this thing, because I don't even think this thing would get up to like 35 with a stock 125 on it. So at least you can get around with the 186. It's a nice engine, and without the sidecar, the 186 is actually a really stout motor. This thing will do 80, no problem, with a 186. Try not to hit those bumps. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for subscribing. I know I wish you do, and I hope you guys keep it shiny side up out there. Oh boy. Oh boy. Right-hander. Keep it shiny side up out there, folks. Enjoy the riding. Hope you are still riding. If you're not, well, get out and ride. If you can't, because it's wintertime and you put your bike up, well, then just watch Jedz Moto videos. Because Jedz Moto videos are cool. Whoop. All right, folks, I'll see you on the best. See you later. Best.